Welcome everyone. My name is Matthew, and today I will be reading Wild, Sweet, and Cool by Quackerjack. A couple notes before we start. Last week, when I released Chapter 1, I mispronounced the saddle maker's name. It's actually pronounced Pummel Horse and not Pummel Horse. Obviously, I believe that they were more French than they actually are. Other than that, down in the description, you'll find a link back to Quackerjack's original story. Please go there. Please rate and comment his story. It's an awesome story. So help him out. Let him know, that he's doing an awesome job and all that good stuff. So I know I'm rambling on, so I'm just going to let you guys get straight into the story. Here is Chapter 2 of Wild, Sweet, and Cool. Because the rider will often be in significantly more danger than the flyer, it is imperative that he or she is given control of the entire session. User Guide, Pummel Horse 4-Point Fitness Saddle System. As it turned out, the reputation Pegasus Riding had for migraine including confusion was well earned, but Twilight Sparkle, fortunately, had always been a fast study. The reins were the easy part. Pull one side to go in that direction, pull both to slow down, slightly slap against the neck to speed up. What made riding a Pegasus complicated was the fact the rider also needed to indicate the desired degree of pitch to the flyer, and this was done with the rider's hind legs. The manual called it applying rotational pressure on the flank with the rear cannons. But Twilight soon figured out that simply meant the shifting positions of her rear legs would send Rainbow Dash basic signals for up and down. This explained why so much effort had been put into making the rider's cannons secure within the greaves. Otherwise, the Pegasus might not have been able to tell if her friend was extending her legs to ascend or retracting them to descend. Of course, none of this pressure had to be particularly hard. As the instruction manual put it, steering was simply a matter of activating instincts that almost every pony appeared to have. Like many instincts, they could be fought off with a little bit of willpower, but then again, any pony who allowed themselves to be ridden by some pony they didn't trust was more likely a fool to begin with. Nonetheless, despite the complexity, the manual gave the impression that there were virtually no problems once the rider became accustomed to maneuvering his or her flyer. And to be fair, Twilight Sparkle's experience on the first day seemed to bear this out. Once she learned the basics of riding, it actually felt quite intuitive. Rainbow Dash responded to all her stimuli with no resistance at all, and by the end the unicorn was comfortable enough to have her friend fly upside down for a few seconds. It seemed that all that was left was to gradually increase the Pegasus' flying speed until Twilight had no problem zipping through the air, perhaps even riding along during a sonic boom if her proficiency level rose high enough. Their second practice session, however, revealed that things weren't quite as simple. Things were going fairly well in the beginning. Both rider and flyer were much more comfortable with the saddle, and Twilight was confident enough in its safety features to let her friend fly at her usual altitudes. This extra wiggle room allowed Twilight to figure out what the instruction manual meant when it talked about directions being relative to the flyer. Basically, going up meant adjusting the pitch in the direction of the flyer's head, while down was the direction of the flyer's hooves. In other words, while the pair was upside down, an up signal would send Rainbow Dash closer to the ground because that was the direction of her head at the moment. "What the hey are you talking about?" Rainbow Dash asked after hearing Twilight's explanation. "I don't have any relatives named Up or Down." "That's not what I... Oh, never mind. The point is I think I'm getting the hang of this." "Great! How about some tricks then?" Sure. Why not?" The Pegasus smiled. She'd been getting bored with simply hovering while enduring Twilight's long-winded commentary. And now that she finally had the chance to be impressive, she was determined not to disappoint. "Okay, we're going to do something relatively simple, since I kind of doubt you're interested in flying high enough to manipulate the cirrus clouds out today." "On that matter, you'd be correct." "Alright, so here's what we'll do. First, we'll descend at 45 degrees into a nice wide loop, and then we'll go around the full 360, and we'll head into a Melford turn to get some altitude, and then we'll do a barrel roll, not an aileron roll, but a barrel roll, and then we'll do a quadruple corkscrew nosedive before leveling off and gliding to the ground." "Got it?" No. You're using a lot of technical jargon that I'm not familiar with, and I mean, what's an Amelford turn?" Well, the Amelford is... Rainbow Dash wasn't quite certain how to respond. She'd assumed that Twilight would have already studied aerobatics enough to pick up on the basics. "Look, you know what? It'll be way easier if you just let me do my thing and see for yourself." "Hang on. Wait!" but the Pegasus was already off like a rocket, streaking toward the ground. She was smiling widely as the air brushed past her and through her prismatic mane. As she began pulling up into the loop, she noticed that there seemed to be a lot more difficulty. This was to be expected since she was carrying Twilight's weight as well as her own, but she did not expect that doing so would produce a strange feeling of compulsion to slow down and level off. Still, she decided to push through the mental obstacle and was soon inverted and beginning the downward portion of the loop, increasing her speed for the next maneuver. As she leveled off in preparation for the Melford's upward surge, Rainbow Dash could barely make out the sounds of her passenger's voice over the air that was buffeting her ears. But it seemed clear that Twilight Sparkle was enjoying the adrenaline rush as much as she was, if not more so. After all, maneuvers that were comparatively easy to pull off even for the average flyer would likely blow the mind of any pony who couldn't fly at all without magical assistance. Grinning, she angled herself upward, making the first half of the second loop. However, this time, when she was fully inverted, she did a half roll and continued to fly straight ahead. And now for the barrel roll. Rainbow Dash shifted herself up and to the right, moving her legs as though running on the inside of an invisible cylinder. She had never quite understood how any pony could mistake the much tighter aileron roll for this move. After all, there is no aspect of that maneuver that even remotely called to mind the image of a barrel, whereas the current spring-like trajectory left no doubt as to the appropriateness of the trick's name. After the roll's fourth inversion, the blue Pegasus found herself chuckling with glee. It seemed that Muscle's memory advice had been spot on. It had been a long time since she had to put this much effort into her practice. She could tell her wings would be a bit sore tomorrow, but it would be the good kind of soreness that lets you know that your workout had been thoroughly and undeniably awesome. It was time to wrap things up. Rainbow Dash shot straight up into the air. When she reached an appropriate altitude, she yawed to the right and sped toward the ground in a nosedive. Now for the corkscrews, the mare thought to herself, and a 1, 2, 3. The graceful yet exciting descent was suddenly cut short as the reins violently yanked the Pegasus's head back, causing her to stop abruptly and level out. "Hey, watch it, Twilight," the flyer said as she rubbed her neck with her hoof. "You could seriously hurt my neck if you aren't careful." Seriously hurt? Seriously hurt? Rainbow Dash, you nearly killed us. The Pegasus turned her head and was shocked to see her rider scowling furiously at her. Killed? Come on, Twilight. I executed everything perfectly until you went and cut me off. Perfectly, huh? Have you tried looking down? Confused, Rainbow Dash did as her friend requested and discovered that she was hovering mere inches above the grassy field. What? Why are we so close to the ground? My timing was dead on. The Pegasus immediately winced when she realized just how poor her choice of words had been. The unicorn on her back sighed in obvious annoyance. It's called inertia, Rainbow Dash. When you're carrying me, it not only takes more energy to start moving, it also takes more energy to stop. I could tell right away you hadn't compensated for it, and I've been trying to get your attention the whole time. But you were having fun, right? I could hear you squealing in delight. I wasn't squealing. I was screaming. Wait a minute. I'm almost certain I heard a whoa in there somewhere. You did, but it wasn't a whoa as in I'm having a great time. It was a whoa as in stop right the feather now. Didn't you feel me pulling on the reins and trying to get you to level off? Oh, so that's what that was. You're supposed to pay attention when I do that. I'm not just here to provide extra resistance. I'm here to handle all your timing for you since my weight is going to throw everything off. If you aren't going to let me do that, then I'm sure Applejack will let you borrow a barrel of hay to haul around the skies to your heart's content. Thank Celestia I learned that thermal velocity spell, or that last yank probably would have been too late. Twilight sighed. Speaking of which, that spell took a lot out of me, so we might as well stop for today. The unicorn wordlessly undid all the bindings and straps, holding herself to her friend. Can you get the saddle off by yourself? Yeah, I think so. Good. I need to get home. Twilight? Yes? I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. The purple unicorn sighed. I know you didn't, Dash, but I'm still angry, and I need to get home and process this when I've calmed down, okay? Rainbow Dash looked down at the ground for several seconds. Eventually, she answered, Yeah, okay. But Twilight was already out of earshot. The following evening, Rainbow Dash again found herself knocking on Twilight Sparkle's door. Who is it? came the voice from the bookish unicorn. It's me. Can we talk for a minute? Sure thing, come in. The Pegasus opened the door to find her friend reshoving a large stack of books. How can I help you? It's about yesterday. Yes? I just wanted to thank you for at least giving it a shot. I'm sorry it didn't work out the way I planned. The unicorn shrugged. Don't worry about it. Same time next week? To say that Rainbow Dash was surprised would be like describing Pinkie Pie as happy. That is to say, it's a massive understatement. Huh? You still want to help me practice? Of course I do. Aside from what happened at the end, it is a lot of fun. As far as our agreement goes, after taking some time to cool down and think about it, I've decided that there's really no reason to dwell on it. Sure, you made a mistake, but you're not likely to make it again, right? The Pegasus shook her head rapidly. No way. From here on out, I'll be letting you handle all the timing, I promise. Twilight smiled. That's good to hear. And while we're on the subject, I feel like I need to apologize for being so snippy with you. Rainbow Dash laughed it off. Hey, it's totally understandable. I'd probably flip out even worse if I was in your place. I take it that means you forgive me? Absolutely. And as far as our next practice, can we bump it up an hour? There's going to be some nice cumulus clouds to work with then. I think that's doable. And in the meantime, I'll be reading up on aerobatics so we can actually talk about what we're doing. Awesome. So is there anything else? Nah, I think we pretty much covered it. Later, Twy. The Pegasus flew out the door in a much more cheerful mood. What was that all about? Came Spike's voice from upstairs. Twilight glared at her eavesdropping assistant. It's a personal matter, Spike, nothing more. Now don't you still have some new acquisitions to sort through? Well, sadly, that is the end of Chapter 2 of Wild, Sweet, and Cool. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. I will be releasing probably a chapter every single Thursday until Quackerjack's done with his story. And, hopefully you guys tune back in every single Thursday to hear, to hear me read the story, and we can all enjoy it together. So, if you need more of a pony fix than just that, please subscribe to this channel. We release new material every single day, basically. Well, it's not every day, but we release it every week. 4, maybe 3 or 4 videos. So please subscribe if you need more ponies. That helps us out. Please comment this video and let me know what you would like me to change, what you guys need me to add, anything like that. I'd love to hear your comments. I will do my best to accommodate those comments and get back to you guys. So thank you very much, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye.